Hello everybody, Chris here from Truly Holistic. In this video we're going to talk about a product that we have here at Truly Holistic, and it's called the Ascension activator, and this is it here. And this is a wonderful product, and hence doing the video about it, because we used to make a tool called the Starburst. We were using steel to create that and make that. It was a product about that size. And the Starburst brings in this beautiful energy, okay? It's loving energy. But the whole idea of the Starburst was expanding that energy out, okay? And we have another product here at Tree Holistic we use for a broadcasting effect called the Sunring. And so we was playing around with the Starburst. We were making that product initially, and now that we've kind of been moving on with particular cubit measures, and with creating a tensor field, which we use a tensor ring for that. So a ring that's very similar to this little ring here, which is the Ascension cubit. Okay, so what we ended up doing was I had a key pendant which was a smaller version of the Starburst that we were using, and then I got guided intuitively to place the ring or the tensor ring and connect it to the Starburst. So I did that, and we were using that tool for a wee while. For people that were doing sessions with me at the time will know that. And it was the best of both worlds, because we were creating a tensor field coming through, but we were also able to expand that energy out. Because one thing about a tensor ring is it creates a column of that vibration frequency of anchoring that light in. So it's coming through the ring, so it's just up and down, so it doesn't expand out. But when we couple it with an expansion tool, a broadcasting tool like the Starburst, then we're able to, this is able to enhance the Starburst's effectiveness, and the Starburst is able to expand the reach of this frequency, or spectrum of frequencies. Now the cool thing about the Ascension cubit is that it holds the whole spectrum of frequency, so every cubit measure is contained within that particular cubit measure called the Ascension cubit. We call it the Ascension cubit because the whole thing about Ascension and your growth and evolvement as an individual is to connect more with your true self, and your true self is a multidimensional aspect, so a large spectrum of frequencies that covers a number of dimensions or realms. And the whole thing about a tensor ring is about anchoring that energy that we may not experience within this duality plane, but what's a way of evolving ourselves with the duality plane, and that's bringing frequencies that exist outside of it, which we call neutrality. So we started doing that, and also saw another company called Twisted Sage that were doing a similar thing. And when I made this little key pendant but put the ring on it, all of a sudden I noticed that Twisted Sage were making, they call it, I'm trying to think what they call it. They make a product that's got the ring around it and a Starburst, a smaller Starburst contained within it. So I thought, wow, interesting that we were aligning at the same thing. Wings of Talk, that's the tool that they use, that they call it, because it brings through the consciousness of this blue being called Talk. Now, this variety that I use here doesn't bring through the consciousness of Talk, and plus the cubit measures we're using here are not in a line, not the same as what Twisted Sage are using. So even though this product which resulted may look like that particular tool, it's not the same thing, because we're using different cubit measures. Okay, we are using a starburst in the middle of it, but we're using an Ascension cubit around it, and also these are specifically cut to a cubit measure as well, the starburst itself. So these particular cubits, so we've got the Ascension cubit around the outside, and this is a cut by the activation cubit. These are 2 cubit measures you will not find anywhere else. They were guided intuitively to me. Now, the key aspect, as I've already talked about, this ring around the outside, the Ascension cubit, is bringing through every cubit measure. Okay, there is. Okay, so it's a highly powerful tool. Okay, this cubit measure, the activation, is more about connecting you into your heart space. Okay, getting you initially connected to the idea of being a consciousness in itself. So there was something we kind of came across before we found the Ascension cubit. So what we're doing here is, by using that cubit measure here, it's allowing this, what would normally be just an anchoring of a column of light, to now be expanded out. Okay, and a lot of the products that we're really focusing on at the moment, we're making them compact and as small as possible, but that doesn't mean that they are less powerful. They're just as powerful. For example, this is the Ascension cubit ring here. This is the Ascension cubit ring as well, which is just half the size. Does that mean that this one's not as powerful as that ring? Not at all. It still anchors, again, the same spectrum of vibration and frequency. But obviously with this ring, it's just creating the column. But with the addition of the starburst, we can now expand that out. And through my dowsing, it says anywhere around approximately about 300 feet that is expanded out. Okay. So I recommend this particular product for, obviously you can have it on your person, but you can also just sit it on a desk or place it somewhere in your home environment or work environment, and you know that it's transmuting and creating a more structured field that is gonna prevent other people's lower vibrational energy to have an effect on you. So it's going to keep your vibration up, and it's just going to make the environment a more less chaotic and more harmonious environment as well, with this particular tool. So wonderful tool, and everyone that has purchased the tool so far has had great, they've loved the tool, the energy that it gives out. You can use this with intent if you want to, like creating columns of light. You can intend that column of light, if you want to do that with a cell phone tower, or any particular area that you feel like it's just low vibrational and you want to create the field of it. You don't need to leave this tool here. You can just use this and use your intent to place a column of light there. You can do that, but the way I like using Tensor technologies, and that's why I really love making these and recommend these products, is because these tools work without having your place of attention on it or using your intent with it. And that's why I'm a big fan of Tensor technology, is because you can just place this down somewhere in your home and it's going to be doing the work. Okay, you don't have to think about it. You don't need to use your intent. So you don't need to be involved in the situation. But saying that, if you do want to be more involved, you can. This will help to amplify that intent. If you want that intent to be expanded, then no better tool than this tool here. So, wonderful product. Really recommend it. If you have any questions about the product, please comment below and I'll be happy to answer them. And we sell this product at trulyholistic.net, okay, which is the website. Go to the product store and you'll find this particular tool, with a number of other tools. Just trying to think if there's anything else we want to mention about this particular tool. What I will say is that you're going to see more and more products. They're going to be circulating. That's going to be using specifically this cubit measure, the Ascension. Okay, just because we are seeing a lot of changes happening on the duality plane. We're in 2020 in regards to the whole COVID thing's been going on. The US election is going on, where there's really a divide. And we've got to stop seeing this divide as something that's not good for humanity. It is good in the long run, because when there's a divide, there's just something not right, okay? And we've got to question and ask ourselves, why is there a divide? Maybe we need to listen to the other side of the story, and open ourselves to maybe looking at things in a different way and being very neutral between the two. And this cubit measure brings through this energy, which is neutrality, and that's where humanity's going. Duality is gradually being pushed out with neutrality coming in. And neutrality is about a way of expressing self, and also opening ourselves to a neutral position where we don't need to take sides. The divide that we've had for a long time here in duality is there been a conflicting nature of different, one country to the other, one language to the other, one race to the other, one skin color to the other, which is being sadly used in regards to racism. Now, neutrality is about going bang down the middle and realizing that we're just consciousness, we're infinite consciousness. Okay, and when we get to that level, which this cubit measure brings through, when we connect to our true identity as infinite consciousness, we realize that the materialistic things of this duality reality is not important. Okay, when we leave this domain of this experience of being the human, we don't take money with us, we don't take materialistic means with us. We take wisdom with us, though, and this definitely brings more wisdom. And that wisdom is going to take humanity to this next stage of duality going and neutrality coming through. So this is a particular tool that is going to help with that, okay, because of the Ascension cubit measure, and also with this expanding it out and affecting others, not necessarily in a direct way, but more in an indirect manner, because they still have free will and choice of the way they want to create their path ahead of them, and we should never impede on that, but we can create a space that is going to give them that option, and they can make it easier for them to when it's the right time for them to evolve on their journey in regards to their ascension. So this tool will do a wonderful job of that. But I think we'll leave it there. And neutrality is really going to take us to another place, and it's already happening. A lot of the clients that we've been doing sessions for and people that have bought products are evolving very nicely. The tools that we make with the Tensor technology, notice a big shift and a big difference with those people that do have the products, especially personal items that they can have on them, on their person 24/7, 24 hours, 7 days a week. Because the wonderful thing about these tools is that, as I say, you don't need to place your attention, you don't need to use your intention, you don't even need to know specifically how they work. Let's just get them around you, get them within your field, your auric field, and when you do that, you're anchoring in this frequency, the spectrum of frequency that exists outside of duality, and bring it here. So you're creating a space to, one, heal, and you're creating a space where you can create, manifest, okay, and that's that brings more wisdom, and that brings more, therefore, more evolution. And the problem with duality is stopping evolution. It's trying to stop you to evolve. It's stopping you regenerating. Okay, when we think about health, it's creating a field that's degenerating you. So you want these particular tools in your environment. And, as I say, indirectly with other people, which we can call humanity or the collective. Until next time, catch you later.